be cool. Cause if you don't, you'll act like a fool, so be cool.
Hey everybody, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies. Bong Joon-ho, a South Korean filmmaker who you wouldn't know prior to 2019, but you just might know his work. He's been making some critically acclaimed work starting in the new millennium, and his entire filmography consists of the highest grossing South Korean films in history. He would achieve true international cult fame thanks to his 2013 hit Snowpiercer, his English language debut. And in a monumental win for South Korean films in 2019, he would go on to win the Best Picture Oscar for Parasite. A win most certainly deserved and officially put his name on the map across the world as a filmmaker worth checking out. And now, here he is with his latest outing starring one of Hollywood's it boys, Robert Pattinson, who gloriously survived his Twilight torture and went from shiny vampire bitch to dark and brooding vengeance. This has to be a winning combo, right? I mean, Pattinson looks fun. Okay, look, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like he's overacting in this, and that might get on my nerves. Look, I'm sure he's gonna be fine, but screamy, cowardly characters have a tendency to take me out of the movie. Context is gonna be key, and I'm sure the quirkiness and unseen uniqueness is gonna be what wins out in the end. But you know what? I'm excited. I'm going in with high expectations, and I'm sure it's gonna be good. Oh man, that is a toxic habit to have with yourself, to just put doubt in your soul. Well, let's just see how it holds up, right? Did it disappoint me, or did it exceed my expectations? This is my honest opinion of Mickey 17. A large science expedition leaves Earth to begin colonizing the planet Niflheim. Mickey Barnes, played by Robert Pattinson, is assigned as an expendable. His job is to be the first human to experience the planet's many dangers, such as dangerous pathogens, and die, only to be brought back to life using a reprinting machine, and with his memories intact, only to go through the process over again to figure out how the rest of humanity can survive on the planet. He has died 16 times. On his 17th life, called Mickey 17, he experiences a pitfall that brings him face to face with the native insect-like life forms called creepers, and thinks that they'll eat him. Instead, they bring him back to the surface safely and leave him alone. Mickey manages to return to the ship, but as soon as he tries to sleep in his own bed, he discovers that he's already been reprinted, and when more than one reprinted person exists, called multiples, an act that is wildly illegal, both Mickeys run the risk of being executed with no further reprinting.
The painkiller's not working.
I think the dose was too high.
Who cares? He's gonna be dead in 10 minutes.
All right, yeah, this was wild. It was bizarre, but you know what? It was gripping and really interesting to see where everything was going. And you know what? Yeah, this was a pretty great movie. Now, as for my worries about Robert Pattinson phoning it in or being a little too over the top in his performance, those worries went right out the airlock as soon as I realized just how kooky and over the top this entire world is. I don't think you would necessarily get it from the trailers, but yeah, everything that happens in this is pretty wacky. So Pattinson doesn't stand out as much as I thought he would. The opening scene is right when Mickey falls into the ice but survives, and a comrade of his simply retrieves the flamethrower that Mickey had and nonchalantly leaves him there to his fate, with nothing more than the morbid curiosity of what's it like to die. The mob boss that wants Mickey dead uses a double-bladed chainsaw to kill his victims. The scientists that oversee Mickey's reprinting often don't even dignify the guy with a table to wake up on, and he'll just plop onto the ground. And when he's on the planet doing his job, the scientists practically treat him like a video game character, enjoying how he dies. In short, despite being the very reason how this colony can be inhabited by humans at all, he is shown zero respect. That seems to be the name of the game that the filmmakers had in mind for Mickey 17. How do we make sure this guy has the absolute worst day possible without the sweet release of death? boy, do they put this poor dude through the ringer. Freezing to near death in the endless snow, no one giving him a proper hello when he returns to base, discovering that he's been replicated and his replicant, Mickey 18, is a grade A asshole who is already boning his girlfriend, and adding to that, poisoned from eating food, inoculated with an untested antidote to that poison, all given to him by the ungrateful leader of this entire colonization effort, Mark Ruffalo, and his wife Toni Collette. More on them later. Mickey 18 tries to kill him, his own best friend is a manipulative loser that gets Mickey in so much trouble. It's a damned menagerie of what more can be done to him, and the only thing I wanted to do was give this guy a fucking hug.
You need a hug.
I will say that one of my smaller criticisms in this is how they don't push the envelope enough, if that makes sense. I made peace with the idea that quote unquote having a bad day didn't necessarily mean to give him the Ethan Winters treatment. They did that to Mickey in the beginning, but went for a more emotional and psychological route, which makes sense since that's pretty much all that wasn't done to him. But I feel like they could have done a little bit more to really make this guy look like he had the worst day possible. Like make him so fatigued and disheveled, like he's bruised and scarred and scratched and bleeding everywhere. Basically like John McClane at the end of Die Hard. But again, I acknowledge that's merely what I wanted rather than what was presented. I gotta talk about Pattinson's dual performance as Mickey 18, who is an unhinged psycho. The polar opposite of 17. 17, 18, basically clones and twins. I know I'm not the only one who's noticed, am I? Anyway, the stark contrast between the two characters is amazing, and Pattinson works off of himself really well. 18 tries to kill 17, then tries to kill Steven Yeun, then tries to kill Mark Ruffalo. Bro tries to kill just about everyone. And yet, he's not without some dimension. He sure sees 17 as a pathetic loser, but he can't deny that they are one and the same person, and doesn't relish the idea of seeing him harmed, knowing exactly what they've both been through. Even desiring to protect him later on, in his own homicidal fuck this guy kind of way, pretty much having the best arc in the entire movie. Naomi Ackie as the romantic interest is pretty good. Hard to talk about her character without getting into spoiler territory. She's not a negative or a positive really. I was expecting her to be something, as I found it suspicious that she didn't have much dialogue when we first meet her, but like I said, I can't talk about it. But she does well. Steven Yeun plays Timo, Mickey's best friend who's arguably the bigger screw-up, acting as the catalyst for Mickey's entire journey. He essentially tried to start up a macaroon business that wasn't successful, but the money he got to start it up in the first place was from a mob boss. In order to escape this man, Mickey and Timo decide to hitch a ride on Mark Ruffalo's colonial starship. But while Mickey gets assigned as an expendable, Timo gets a job as a pilot. Naturally, he treats Mickey like crap and joins in on the pestering him with "What's it like to die?" He's quite the despicable character, and Yeun wonderfully yucks it up. But if there's anyone that chews the scenery, it's the combined might of Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette, respectively playing Kenneth Marshall and his wife Ilva. Marshall is a failed politician who became a leader in this military crossed with religious group that allowed him to do this whole crazy colonization project in the first place. Guess if you can't be the president of a nation, might as well be the king in a cult. He bounces between being pretty goofy with how beloved he is by the masses, but also despicable when it comes to Mickey. Now, it's really easy to dislike Ruffalo, with his incessant politics, but it's hard to deny that if there's any role he does really well, it's the obnoxious douchebag who thinks way too highly of himself, but no one shares his sentiment. At least, no one in the main cast. It's pretty obvious where he got his inspiration for his character, but he truly adds a level of entertainment when it comes to those fake-ass white teeth of his. Oh my god, and I thought his performance in Poor Things was great. This is just as wild, and to see him go completely batshit later on, he legit becomes threatening. But if Yin has a Yang, then Ruffalo has Colette, who almost seems like she's the puppet master, the real brains behind Marshall's success, constantly feeding him lines during his speeches and reminding him of what to say to make everyone happy. Colette is even more scary, really tapping into that hereditary training and giving it an over-the-top feel. Definitely more psychotic than her husband as the story progresses. There's some great physicality with them too. Like, one of their kisses never connects. I kinda wish that was a consistent thing. The way that they hang on to each other and rely on each other for their own individual needs, it just kills me to see them work together. Fuck it. Let's just do a little bit of spoilers. Jump to this time code if you don't want anything spoiled. I suppose the only real complaint that I have is that there's this weird and brief subplot involving a fellow security officer that seems to have a romantic interest in Mickey, despite him being committed to Nasha. Right after Nasha and 18 go back to their room, 17 has his own misfortunes and seems to be setting him up to be with this other girl, Kaya, played by Anna Maria Vartolome. I thought to myself, oh, I get it now. There's gonna be a twist where Nasha doesn't really like Mickey, or she's gonna turn on him for XYZ reasons, and it's gonna be this girl who ends up being his true romantic partner. Got it. She cares for him, she protects him. It seemed like that was what the plan was. But almost as soon as she's introduced, she pretty much leaves the story altogether. And I liked her a whole lot less when she discovers that the Mickeys are multiples and tries to bargain with Nasha for her silence by sharing the Mickeys. Seemed a bit out of character, but oh well. This was a whole lot of fun. It's got everything you'd want out of a sci-fi. Action, comedy, drama, weirdness, cute little alien worm creatures. Boy, that is not an easy sentence to say, but it's true. They are pretty friggin' cute, and I want a plushie of one right friggin' now. But more importantly, it has a brain. Ethics, philosophy. This could actually be a nice little foundation to have a real world discussion. I think it's awesome, and if you're into this type of thing, I highly recommend that you check this out. My honest rating for Mickey 17, a strong 4 out of 5.
Hey, Mickey. Yeah. What's it feel like to die?
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Hit that like or dislike button. All engagement is welcomed. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. And as always, have a great day, stay safe and healthy out there, and hope to see you soon.